Hi everyone, so we move on to factoring by grouping. We use this method when we see that we have no common factor among all of our terms. So if we look at each term, 2am, 8m, 5an, 20n, we don't have one single common factor among all four of these terms. Another way when we know that we can use this method is when we have an even number of terms. So here we have 4 terms, okay? So as the name says, factoring by grouping, we will group our terms. We will group them in terms of 2 and then we will factor out those groups. Okay, so in this case I have a common factor between my first and second term, and I have a common factor between my third and fourth term. So I will choose to group my first and second term and group my third and fourth term. What is my common factor between 2am and 8m? The highest common factor here is 2m. So if we say 2m into 2am, we're left with a. 2m into 8m, we have a plus sign, we're left with 4. Okay, now the highest common factor between 5an and 20n would be 5n. So we take out a positive 5n, open our bracket. 5n into 5an will leave us with a. 5n into 20n, we have a plus sign, will leave us with 4. If you will notice, we have a common binomial between these two terms. So we can go further another step, take out that common binomial, which is a plus 4. We're left with 2m from the first term and 5n from the second term, and that's it. The second example would be the same procedure. We have a common factor between our first and second terms, and then a common factor between the third and fourth term. So my highest common factor between the first and second term would be 4 for my number and y raised to the 4th power. I open my bracket. 4y raised to the 4th power into 8x squared y raised to the 4th power. 4 into 8 is 2. We have no x here, so we would substitute a 1, or we just bring down the x squared. Like if you say 1 into x squared, leaves me with x squared. y4 into y4 is 1. Now we have a minus sign here at our second term. 4y raised to the 4th into 4y raised to the 4th will leave me with 1. So I just grouped my first two terms. Let me group my second term. So my second and my third and fourth term, sorry. That's my second group. I will choose to take out a positive 7. That is the highest common factor between 14x squared and 7. So 7 into 14x squared will leave me with 2x squared. 7 into negative 7 will leave me with negative 1. Okay. Again, I see I have a common binomial between these two terms. So I take out 2x squared minus 1. From my first term, I'm left with 4y raised to the 4th power. From my second term, I'm left with 7. And that's it. Third example, similar again. I will group my first two terms. I already look at it. I have a highest common factor of 5x that can go into these first two terms. And then we will do our second two terms. So 5x from my first two terms. 5x into 15mx will leave me with 3m. 5x into 10nx will leave me with 2n. Okay, here this is something to look at now. In my second group, my third and fourth terms, I have negative sign for each term. So what I will do is take out a negative sign along with my highest common factor. Here my highest common factor would be 2y, right? So if I take out 2y, so I have negative 2y into negative 6my will leave me with a positive 3m. Negative 2y into negative 4ny will leave me with a positive 2n. So are we seeing a pattern here? Again, we have a common binomial that we can take out. 3m plus 2n. And from the first term, we're left with 5x. From the second term, we're left with minus 2y. Okay? Or fourth example. Again, I will group the first two terms. I have a common, my highest common factor between the first two terms would be 3x. Okay, so if I take out 3x into 12x squared will leave me with 4x. 3x into negative 27x will leave me with minus 9, right? Here I have a negative and a positive number in my second group. I will just choose to take out a positive in this case. What's my highest common factor here? 2y. Right? To have 2 is the highest number that can go into 8 and 18. And then we have a y in each term. So 2y into